episode of Movie Buffers. This episode is going to be about Top Gun Maverick. But before we get into that, I want to introduce a friend of mine. His name is Noah, and he's
Hey guys.
from Movie Chest.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't too familiar with the first movie. Like I always like passed by, and it was like a Father's Day kind of like movie, you know?
Right. Totally.
Or like
totally.
a Memorial Day like thing. So
Patriotic things go, like feelings go. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I always kind of guess I had like a biased opinion on it before I even really
Yeah.
gave it a shot.
I definitely had like some preconceived notions of it before because I did the same. I like went back and watched the 86 one, the first one for the first time, and I was like, yeah, it's good. It's got that 80s campiness to it that
I mean, it was one of those things where you're trying to put yourself in that mindset of the time, and when
right.
Goose starts playing the piano and everyone gets involved, so you're
Great balls of
I don't know how many people were like hip to Great Balls of Fire in
right.
86. It was like an interesting choice. But then them bringing it into the new one,
it's like aged well. This whole movie aged well.
How did that it actually? I felt that where he's like watching from the window, and even though it was like shot kind of Hallmark channel-y, it's like he happens to be outside of the window, but
gets thrown out or whatever.
Did you know that? I mean, because I didn't know until I went and saw it that was going to be Goose's kid, Miles Teller.
It had been mentioned to me in passing, so I was like, oh, it's focusing on Goose's kid. I didn't know Miles Teller was it until like we got in there, or whatever. But
yeah,
I was like, oh, that's good because we got a little, I thought Goose was done dirty in the first one, just straight an exercise accident by Maverick
exactly.
or whatever. But,
because I mean, even though it was played out as a big emotional scene and stuff, I felt like he wasn't really in the movie that much.
Right,
I think his wife was in the movie more, Meg Ryan. And she really wasn't in it much.
His absence was felt more, I guess you could say, in a weird way.
Talk about like great casting with Miles Teller, though, man. Like
he's spot on. Yeah.
I don't know if he just naturally has that stagger about him, the like lanky kind of. Definitely in the aviator and the Hawaiian shirt. Like I was like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
And then also, I didn't know that the shitty kid, like the shitty bully guy, was Iceman's kid.
Hangman, yeah, right.
Or Hangman, what the fuck, dude?
I didn't know that either until just like and social medias. I think I saw that. I was like, that changed like my whole perspective a little bit because I was like, I thought it was just some like top of this class like ace pilot guy who's always been good and always kind of cocky, whatever.
I mean,
it's like actually, a lot of dynamics going on.
I don't know if maybe I did find out later too. I thought it might have been at the end of the movie, but I had no idea that was supposed to be
it works though.
Kid.
It works like
but I don't know. Was Iceman one of the bullies or antagonizers in the original one?
I guess. I mean, he's definitely like an adversary for Maverick, right?
Did you ever watch the Val Kilmer documentary that came out on Amazon Prime?
No, I did add that to my list when it came out, and my brother like told me about it and was like talking about how it is a really deep story and into his life and his career and stuff.
So we get to see a lot of Top Gun in it, and I want to go back and watch it now because I remember being like, there's a lot of fucking Top Gun in this, like behind the scenes. But it's basically him and the a lot of the cast members just got really close, and it's them hanging out behind the scenes, but no Tom Cruise. And I think they kind of talk about that too, where it's like, where Tom Cruise, he was like just the different in dynamic, where he's like Tom Cruise as a movie star as against Val Kilmer as a movie star at that time.
Yeah.
We're just kind of the like side guys, where he was like, he had to be on set every day. And so there's a lot of like just them hanging out. And I could say I'm a fan now of,
of these movies. Or of Top Gun too. Yeah. He's definitely warmed me up to Tom Cruise in general. I know there's been like hearsay as to whether he's like one of the last like great movie stars, and all that or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. He pulls his weight if that isn't clear, he pulls his weight in his movies, and like I think people at the very least respect that. Like Miles Teller in the new one and stuff. Everyone goes to that.
It's like he like drives the movies. He like even with the Mission Impossible movies though, he's
Right.
completely behind just getting those made, and nobody even gives a shit he's making those anymore.
Right.
They're just like, go ahead. They get better every time you make one.
Yeah, true.
Controversy or not, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure growing up, I mean, I don't know so much of like what you
my
heard
like
of him growing
my
up,
experience, like my limited experience with him were like Jerry Maguire, Rain Man, some of the ones where I think maybe like since I started with those, I didn't get like full range of his action chops and like his actual like just adrenaline junkie bit that like he's got, you know, like he's just going all out, which I like I said, I think you just kind of got to respect it. Like the guy's doing all he can, and it comes through in Top Gun and in this. I mean, it's crazy, man. Like I was watching behind the scenes of it and stuff, and people like Miles Teller and all the, you know, the supporting cast going through like underwater training and stuff, and like G-force training and it's just like
saying that like awesome. 3 of 6 of them like threw up every day or something. Just extreme. And it's kind of just Tom Cruise like in the back smiling at it.
Right.
Just happy that he's putting people through this hell, but
it's the blood pumping, man.
Scientology, you know? He's like feeding on
and in life eating the placenta.
he eats placenta at the craft service table.
Special, it's labeled Tom over there. It's just special.
Don't touch that. That's Tom's plate. But I mean, I kind of went down a rabbit hole too after this, being like, fuck, man, how awesome. And like reading a little bit more about Tom Cruise, and then I'm like, good and bad, you know. I'm like, he is like the last great movie star, but in a sense, that is also being, you know, kind of like the blinders over, you know, the movie. It's kind of just like the movie star is the movie star, but you don't want to know who it is behind the scenes. You know?
Exactly. It's the persona, the veneer he puts on, for sure. Like
Zandon and I, you know, I wish he saw it because I would have invited him on here, but
for sure.
But we were talking about it on the drive out to work. We were saying how it's like, as much as we know about him and how fucking weird he is, and there's just something about this, like this nostalgia or just the way he drives a movie, or
the dedication behind, man. For real.
There's something about his like his smile's got like an impact behind it.
The charismatic.
And I mean, not to go like far and retell the story again, but like the kid in my hometown who won a contest, and then
that's right,
to meet Tom Cruise.
So cool,
and
man.
That was like, and it was at a premiere for Mission Impossible 3, and that was my first Mission Impossible movie I've ever seen. And if you've never seen that one,
I think I've only seen the first Mission Impossible. I literally have like not gone any further than the first one.
Oh my God!
I know I gotta get in on it. Yeah.
Well, we'll go through those, man. I'm down to watch those. Mission Impossible 3, though, particularly, that's when shit starts to get good. Like the first two were definitely the first movies.
Hit another level on that one. Something.
The second one is really bad, but 3 and on is like Philip Seymour Hoffman plays the antagonist in the third one, it's some heavy performances. But that was my intro to the Mission Impossible series, and then just meeting him, and for like a 13-year-old, like that's just like fucking
awestruck, inspiring.
So I went and watched every single movie he ever did, and from like Magnolia to like Days of Thunder, and like just his, even A Few Good Men, he's like more dramatic.
That's what I want to watch soon, because I know and Jack Nicholson.
I'm a big Jack Nicholson fan too, man.
Right.
God. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you've never seen that one,
I gotta watch that one too, man. So many on the list. Yeah.
But finally, I don't see. But Top Gun, I always skipped over because I might have been because it was just the dad thing, you know. It was like, that's just a movie that dads watch.
The coke fueled sex pod, you know.
Well,
beach pod,
and I like how they like threw kind of an homage to the volleyball scene, man. And it was like, of all places to be playing football is like right on the bank of the ocean. The waves are coming in. I was like, first of all, horrible footing, you know.
So bad.
They're like, how can we really get these men wet and dirty?
Get them chest bumping, get the energy
And also, I love their diversity too. They're like, we'll put one chick in there. It was like one chick.
And it's funny, like you realize, like I mean, while they're flying that last mission, that like impossible mission, it's like she's kind of the pilot, like the Iceman almost too.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry, like she's executing everything perfectly, you know, like so it's like.
Oh, weird, I did write one note too. Like I wrote one. Well, it was while she was flying, and then I was like, "Oh, I really like Bob for some reason."
Dude, right?
Yeah, like her guy who sits behind her.
Yeah.
And he's like always freaking out.
Technician or whatever. Yeah.
He was so small, but the fact that they played it off like it was such a big joke that they were gonna write it out on. Like his name's just Bob. No, like, there's no Maverick nickname. There's no
Bob doing Bob. It's just
it was kind of like
he was nice relief, kind of.
Yeah, it was almost kind of like the Deadpool 2. There was just that when they're getting their group together, they get that just like random guy with glasses.
Oh yeah,
who doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But you just love him. Another thing that I kept like trying to remember was Jennifer Connelly. I was like, was she in the first one? I was like, what the fuck? They played it so well to be like, oh, how touching, they're being reconnected and reunited and stuff. But she literally wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah, I was a little confused. But I mean, it's like, I don't know. I could have like done without that, but I get why. Like, you know, you're trying to create some more stuff for Tom to go, and they had like some good dialogue, you know, in terms of like what his relationship was to Rooster and or Rooster's kid, or Rooster and
And well, it also like forced him to kind of battle with the overbearing, even though he's not his parent, but like the overbearing kind of just the
weight,
guardian angel. Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I'm gonna make sure that he doesn't make it out of flight school so that he doesn't die, you know. And it's like, that's pretty fucked up.
That was like that line where he's like, he's gonna hate me if I let him go, he's gonna hate me if I stop him from going. It's like, you're right. Like,
it's like, man, it took you 30 years to
figure that out.
Yeah, it was really weird to feel how they captured the original feel of emotion of like Goose's first death, because I think I like told you when it happened, I was like, I see how people can feel something for that, or like I've heard of people crying to that scene, you know, and I was like, going into it, we're ready for that, but I was like, it's a little cheesy, you know. He's like, it's sad he died, you know. But then in the second one, just referencing that death in the first one, and then the way that Miles Teller wears that burden of losing his father, it felt very convincing. And
I agree.
So him and Tom, man, they got some feel. Oh, and then Iceman's scene, you know.
Val in there, man. I was like, I choked up, I had a little water, you know, welled up a little bit. I was like,
and
like,
I didn't expect
I'm glad I was there.
it. I didn't, because when it first went into it and he started typing on the computer, I was like, oh no. I was like, this is gonna. I was like, I was like, I remember he's able to talk. Like, what are they doing?
It's just like it's just painful for him or whatever.
Just painful for him. And then when he got up, and I was like, and then he left that message on the computer, and it hit it home. And
for sure.
And the fact that you could see it on both of their faces that it was just a send off to Val's character. And just
both glad to be there. A lot of the emotion was palpable between them, you know. And
well, and he hasn't been getting work, man. And I don't know if he really is wanting it or anything, but one of the last things I saw him do was Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Okay.
He showed up in that. And he was dressed as Batman, and he didn't talk, and he was had something going on, and then I remember being like, "Fuck, man, I don't want to see him like that," or like where people are giving him like sympathy roles, or like I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but it's still, this one felt like it was the right way to,
totally.
And especially being such a massive success, he's gonna be.
I was amazed just in like when I went in the theaters, like first of all, it was like a pretty packed theater, the one that I saw. Like it was pretty full. There's very few empty seats, and the audience itself was like such a crazy range of ages and stuff. You know, like this movie, like there was kids in there were people with their parents and older parents, like grandparents and stuff. And I was like, man, this is like, it just felt like a little bit different than most other movies you would go see in theaters, you know,
well,
not the Marvel mashups that you see or whatever.
Because it is a mesh of generations, man. I think I saw a little bit of the same thing there. There wasn't as many people, but I saw, you know, it was a grandpa with his earmuffs on because he couldn't take the heat.
Yeah, the Jets.
His earmuffs on, but he's in there with his son, and then like a younger guy. It's like, wow, dude, that's like 3 generations right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, it's like
nostalgia fueled movie, maybe, but like it's clearly connecting people, and you know, it's cool to see. Not a lot of movies you see that now, and you know, nowadays. I feel like
I was wondering where Miles Teller was too. I was like, man, I hope he's not falling off. I know that he's not like the most seeked out actor to work with, but I like him. I like him a lot. Whiplash.
Yes,
Whiplash
fantastic.
Is one of my favorite movies in the past 10 years.
So good, man. Yeah,
that is something that I could have done a little bit without with the Jennifer Connelly. But it was also, you could tell it was. They're like he's been a loner. I guess they're trying to play off like he's just been like this.
The ace pilot who's just stuck on track, really not
just 30 years. I'm like,
30
what's he
years
been
Top
doing?
Gun. Yeah, right.
When he's first disobeying orders in the beginning of the movie, and he flies over
that to hit Mach 10 or whatever. Yeah.
But then he like flies over the captain. Oh man, I forget his name.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and like that the stall like roof like gets ripped off a little bit. So.
He just like flies over there, but then he's like, oh, and then the way that he looks up, and then Tom Cruise looks back at him with this like cocky look. I'm like, there's no fucking way he could see you. Like, there's no way he's looking back, and they're like, just the way that they're playing off like it's like a teenager joyriding in a car.
Right, right, dude. Yeah, I mean, the same way he's like falling out of the top window of the door when he's like hooking up with Jennifer Connelly, you know, and even in the beginning of the movie when they're opening and like people on the air carrier on the strip are like they're like unhooking stuff, and you know the music's going, and like they're like giving high fives to each other still. It's like, all right, like they're capturing some of that campy energy here. It's perfect. Yeah.
I think I read something about the Air Force will fine you like $200 if you quote the movie.
Really?
I guess it has something to do with technical things. If you're going into flight school, you don't want to like watch this movie for like.
It's probably extremely infuriating for like actual jet pilots out there who are like.
Well, like in the first movie, they referred to like a bogey multiple times as like, which a bogey I believe is like an unidentified aircraft of some sort, but they play it off as like if it's like some ollie-oop in basketball or something. They're like, he did a bogey. I don't know if they like call it the same thing or but it's just
call bandits in this one.
They also like do this thing where the planes are so close to each other, but I guess that it's for like technicality reasons to get the both the planes in the shot. That's one thing that the Air Force is like, that's something we would never do. That is so dangerous to just be flying close to each other.
Nuts to butts like that. Yeah.
But the whole movie is just them like flipping around each other. You know what? Like Tom Cruise comes like flying in and he's like tapping them and shit. I was like, no
man.
Way.
Like no.
I was like, how in the fuck? Those are the only things where I was like, this is clearly just a good time. I was like, this is
right.
Just, right. And it's awesome. I was having fun, but it was like, what the fuck?
The suspension of belief is just enough. The two miracles that need to happen with the missiles or everything happens the way it's supposed to.
The firing blind at I was like, somebody's gonna have to fire blind.
Yep. Have that Luke Skywalker moment.
And then fucking sure enough, it's Miles Teller, and he hits the bullseye, and it was so
explodes
epic.
The Death Star. Yeah, it was awesome, man. That last scene was just so like intense, and then like the whole Maverick saving him, and then Rooster saving Maverick, and like then trying to get back, and then Hangman coming in to just clean up with
and that's where shit just went off.
It solidified something new, like
because it was almost like a behind enemy lines kind of like that. Once they hit the ground and then had to steal an aircraft,
like an old actor.
I'm like, holy shit, Dad, this is so old school. Like,
it was dope.
I mean, in no way in hell would this ever but I don't know. It was just awesome it
just played so well. Yeah, it was such a fun ride, man. I felt like you felt like you're in the cockpit with them, man. Like they're, the fucking G's or the rumble and the shake, that them like in the seats fucking clunking around, it's awesome. I know there's like a lot of technical stuff to get like all the cameras set up and to make sure it all looks good, like reflections and glares and all that stuff.
Well, and especially since I heard a lot of the cast talking about how Tom Cruise a lot of that was practically done.
Right,
they wanted
right.
Even if the planes were only moving on the ground a little bit, they were still like moving so that the sky was real. And these people were in their aircrafts, man. I respect that, and I love that so much, because in a world with just so much green screen and
Disney would have done that on one of their massive sound stages and paid probably the same if not more to do it or whatever, so
well, and that's what I think Tom wanted to do too, differently than the first one, because the first one, as much as it holds up and all of that, it was all done with the the
backdrops put in green or blue screen and green screen or whatever.
And they're on tracks and
it, like little whatever they're called, the hydraulic platforms or whatever moving around.
It is still like felt a little bit more isolated than whereas in this one it was kind of like I was sweaty, I was
Dude,
like
right?
sweaty in it.
Honestly, the action is, there's a lot of good elements to this movie, but the action is still like something to write home about. It's still a badass. The dogfights are sick, all the flight maneuvers and Maverick toying with all the pilots. It's just, you're like sitting there a little tensed up and like, on your armchair there.
That's Tom Cruise there, but they somehow still made him feel like the old guy, And, they're just like, just a couple of those old man comments. Just like,
well, that's so like the addition of like John Hamm, like he played like a good, middle-aged general or whatever guy. And the fly by that Maverick does on the aircraft there, like at the end, just like shaking them. Just
and
nice little moments.
That too, man. Where it's like they're just like so mad at him. They're just like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" But then he comes home and they're like, they're like,
God damn it, I'm not rock hard from what you just pulled off.
Going back to the relationship stuff too, when he's like climbing out of the window and trying to like get out before the daughter notices it, she's just like,
and then just at the front door.
She's just like, don't break her heart again, And that was one thing I thought about later, where I was like, what are they referencing? I'm like, they made it seem so much that this is something that we already knew.
So there's history here now. Okay,
So I wonder how many people went and saw this movie and they just like believe that Jennifer Connelly was a big part of the first movie.
It just became just canonized for them immediately.
As long as we know that Maverick is happy with that's kind of stupid though. Also, to be like the only way to be happy is to find a gal in your hometown and settle down,
it's a little.
It was done all right though.
I don't know if you had to like give this one a rating, because after watching the first one I rate on like a 5-star scale, but like 1 out of 10 or whatever you want to give it. But I gave Top Gun 86 a 3-star, and I could like see it 3.5 star, but I give this one 4. I could see it even higher than that,
Oh man, I've been trying to kind of figure out a rating system on this.
It's channel. Hard for me. I always fluctuate so much just because it's like stuff influences my opinion. So and time just makes me. You sit on it and think about it.
I've been like grading them from like like on the A to F scale, But I think Top Gun, I give Top Gun Maverick, I'll give it an A-. But for the fun, it's like a summer fun.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for good action sequences and stuff like that. This has all that and more. So
dude. So I think Top Gun Maverick. It's like so like a 4.5 star, and then like the original Top Gun, kind of the same. I was at like a 3, maybe like a C plus or something.
But
like that.
I think I mentioned this when I talked with my Matt and for our channel. Like this one was so good that it like elevated the old one for me a little bit too, because I was like it just deepened my love for that one because this one was so good and so fun. Just a great continuation, So they're just two solid sequel, like original and sequel movie. Like it's hard to nail a sequel, and they did it, I think.
Yeah, totally. Kind of similar to what Denis Villeneuve did for Blade Runner. Like
totally re-envision that. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I loved the original, but after watching 49, like, it's great to power through both of those now as like a coherent story.
Right.
But this was an awesome movie, and
highly recommend going to see it.
Recommend it, and it'll probably be playing for the next 6 months in theaters.
Right? Yeah, if the box office is telling us anything.
Yeah. And then a lot of new movies coming out, man. I can't even keep up with them.
Dude, I am extremely hyped for Nope, Jordan Peele's new.
Oh my god, I'm down to do that one.
Yeah, man, we gotta talk about that.
Get a group to go to that one
for sure.
God, man, I loved Us. Us was great.
Get Out was like good, and then Us was just like, I was like, all right, I'm on the Jordan Peele track, man. Yeah, like
a lot of people like Get Out more, but I think Us was, because it was a little bit more like Twilight Zone-y, and like people thought there were more plot holes. But I think like since he did what he wanted to with it, fuck that, man. Fuck the plot holes.
Hell yeah. I mean, the plot holes, like you said, the Twilight Zone aspect of it is just like the holes are there for you to like fill in, you know, to try and like use your So good, super hyped for that one. But
and then that movie Men. That came out too. I can't remember his name.
Mixed things about that one, but
so I think we could just wait. The same with I didn't see Doctor Strange 2 yet. I think you guys saw that one.
Yeah, we reviewed that one. I enjoyed it. Like, all right, I'm just like, I mean, my older brother was like super into comics, my oldest brother. And so like I've been a comic collector and comic book and superhero and anime nerd.
Nice.
Yeah, from
I'm into a few.
So I'm in on the Marvel train, and I get why like people's complaints about it, but I'm on the Marvel train. So.
I heard that it's almost just a horror movie.
It's got some really like Evil Dead elements, some just like some horror stuff in there.
I'm stoked, man. Because I went and watched the first Doctor Strange not too long ago, like a couple weeks ago, and
it's fun. It's not like anything special. I think
I was just so surprised at how like heavy his character comes in as like just an asshole.
For sure.
He was like straight up grabbing people by their like throwing them up against the wall and shit. I'm like, who the fuck does this guy think he is before he even
doctor
his hands don't even work, and he's like assaulting people because he's angry. But I'm really excited to see what I hear. It's just so different, and
it's got good stuff in it. I enjoyed it.
Well, I'll have to get you back on here soon. It's been
for
awesome,
sure, man. Appreciate you having me on here. It's always good to talk to fellow movie lovers and gush about stuff like that.
Totally, man. I'll be in touch, man. And
sounds good.
See you next time, and thanks for watching.